It's time now for the Wall Street Beat. And we're joined by Dealmaker Jim Langston. He's a partner at Paul, Weiss, Rifkind, Wharton and Garrison. All those legal names. Those past clients include Goldman Sachs, Starbucks, and General Mills. We are also joined by Bloomberg's Michelle Davis, who's senior correspondent on Bloomberg Deals. And of course, we're joined by both of you at a time where deals are finally coming back. Before we get to all the limitations, because we know there are some, perhaps talk to us about what you're seeing in conversations with your clients.
So M&A, we think the stars are aligning for it to be a busy year, the second half of the year and beyond. Confidence is returning to boardrooms, to C-suites. Companies are willing to make big, bold bets on M&A. The private equity market hasn't been as active, but we feel like that is going to be unlocked so we get greater certainty on interest rates, and private equity pulls additional levers to achieve exits.
There is obviously an election coming up this year, as you may have heard, and I know you're expecting, a pickup in activity. I'm curious what your advice is to clients who may be worried about their deal getting caught up in the rhetoric. Is there advice around avoiding deals that might be too controversial or high profile? What's the election, impact to M&A?
Yeah, so you have to separate the noise from the reality, right? We're in election year, everything gets politicized. M&A is no exception. There's been a lot of headlines around antitrust, that's stopping deals, chilling activity. But the bottom line is that deals that were getting done in the past can still get done today. So if the deal makes strategic sense, and it's a deal that could get done, you should go for it. Right? But what you have to have is a plan, a strategy. You can't wait for the noise to surround the deal. You can't wait for a congressman, a senator, the White House, a state to take a shot at the deal. You have to be prepared and control the narrative and have a way to get the deal done and then sell that to the shareholders.
I'm pretty sure we're going to want to talk more about antitrust as well, but another big blockage has been this concern around foreign buyers. You think of what happened with Nippon Steel, for example, in the Biden administration. How does the tone around cross-border M&A change as the election cycle progresses?
I think it's just what I said. Everything gets more politicized. That deal is an example of it. It's a challenging environment for cross-border M&A. Right? The geopolitical battle lines are hardening, nationalistic, protectionist impulses are intensifying, and companies want to invest closer to home rather than abroad. And you look at the U.S., the growth in the U.S. relative to the rest of the Western world, the deepness of the capital markets has really been a beacon to M&A in the U.S. and Europeans that are trying to enhance their growth profile. So when you put all that together, it's harder to get a global cross-border deal done today than it has been in the past.
So Jim, I was at an event this morning on M&A, and the head of banking at JP Morgan, the head of M&A, said that she's noticed there was a pickup in unsolicited M&A last year. It reached a 10-year high. Is that something you're noticing on your end as well?
Absolutely. The number of letters landing in boardrooms on an unsolicited basis is up. It goes back to this confidence theme that we talked about earlier, right? Companies are more confident. They're willing to reach for their M&A hopes and dreams, and realizing that you can't just wait for a company to go on the auction block. If you have a deal, you want to pursue it, it's part of your broader strategy, you have conviction around it, sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. So we think there's going to be more of that for the rest of the year.
It's pretty fascinating to see people with, the green light on everywhere you go, slowly starting to really come back to the surface. It sounds like that confidence has come back despite some of the headwinds we've been talking about. So if you think about that confidence moving into the rest of the year, do you think it can be firmly planted within the world of private equity, given what you were saying about the muted nature of the deals we've been seeing?
I think we're about to turn a corner and get into the early stage of a private M&A super cycle, right? Those investors have been on the sidelines for 18 plus months now.
Couldn't happen fast enough.
It couldn't happen fast enough. Their LPs are clamoring for them to return capital. The dry powder remains at a high water mark. They need to invest, and debt markets are more constructive now than they have been at any point of the year. And there's creative structures available, structured equity, rollovers. I think we're going to see more rollover equity in take privates. And so that M&A activity, we think, is going to beget more M&A activity on the private equity side.
Can you talk to us a little bit about antitrust? I know there's been a narrative that antitrust scrutiny has been chilling deals, but recently we've been hearing about bigger and bigger deals, even seeing, bigger deals attempted, like BHP going after Anglo. What are you seeing? Are companies emboldened now, or are they still worried?
Absolutely. I mean, bigger deals have a bigger target on their back, but you have to be prepared to fight fire with fire, as we talked about earlier, and have a strategy to actually get the deal cleared. But I think companies have gotten used to this heightened antitrust environment, or looking at it and said there's noise and reality. And the truth of the matter is lots of deals are still getting done. So if you have a deal that would have gotten done in the past, despite all the noise, it can still get done today. There's going to be more twists and turns in the process. You have to be prepared to be in the process for a lot longer, or maybe a little bit longer than you had in the past. But at the end of the day, the result should still be the same.
Okay, it's game time. It's almost halfway through the year. The largest deal we've seen is $30-some billion. Do you see something even larger than that? Do you think that there are companies out there that are willing to kind of fight the antitrust storm here and say we are willing to go mega?
Yeah, I mean, mega M&A deals has been a big trend of this year, right? I mean, you look how the year started off with the Synopsys-Ansys deal, right? A large tech transaction. You look at the mega deals in the oil patch in pharma, and we think that that's going to continue for the rest of the year, particularly as there's certainty around the election outcome and people realize that standing still is not a viable business strategy, right? There's a first mover advantage. And so if there's going to be M&A and consolidation in your sector, it's better to be the first mover than the last mover.
We only have about 30 seconds left here, but Michelle, what are you hearing as well?
It sounds like a lot of the same things are being discussed among, other deal makers. Just people are expecting a big pickup. The mood everyone describes as cautiously optimistic, definitely way better than last year when folks were depressed because their deals were falling apart at the finish line. But yeah, I mean, what's in a couple words, how would you describe the mood?
I would say it's gone from cautious optimism to more optimism.